Embers Adrift, the indie hardcore PvE MMO with a focus on grouping and class interdependency with a heaping dose of challenge and, well, fear. Fear of anything from bandits. Oh god, that's a lot. The angry deer. An indie MMO that's looking back at classic games like EverQuest and others for inspiration is actually going to give you a free trial. And it's going to be available to you very soon, starting on March 1st. Probably by the time you see this video, it's already out. And of course, naturally, this was announced like 2 days after I already bought a friend of mine a copy of Embers Adrift so that they could play with me. But I don't actually mind that. I don't mind spending $30 because it's going to a source that I think is a good one. It's an MMO that is really devoted to not having microtransactions, an MMO that is devoted to the kind of challenge and things that really drew me personally to MMOs back in the first place. The kind of thing that made me like games like Ultima Online, EverQuest, and even World of Warcraft when it first began. A thing that has in a lot of ways been lacking, at the very least, at the early part of the game. In most games, most MMOs. So I don't feel bad at all about monetarily supporting this indie MMO. And you know what? On that subject, they keep an eye out in this video because there's something you may, if you're interested in Embers Adrift and you want to play it, there may be something you want to listen in for. The free trial goes live starting March 1st at noon CST. You'll be able to log in and test out the game without having to purchase it first. The trial will include full access to the first 3 areas of the game: New Haven Valley, where you start, the first dungeon, Central Veins, which just last night destroyed my friend and I, leading us to really need to enlist some help to get our corpses. And finally, New Haven City, the central hub of the game where you can get that help to find your corpse. Having played the game a bit myself, I can already say I've moved past these 3 areas already, but you will still be able to get a really good look at the game to see if it's for you or not. And keep in mind, this game is not going to be for everyone. It is a hardcore game that is not going to be holding your hand, and because of the tab target combat, that can be a little bit slower to some people. But to the people that do like this type of game, it is a lot of what you want. It's a beautiful game, and it's a game that actually really captures that feel in a lot of ways. That old school feel of earning every kill, not every 10 to 20 kills, but every single kill. Embers Adrift is a PvE low fantasy MMO that is committed to group first experiences, though they've recently made some concessions to increase the viability of soloing in some areas while maintaining the drive to group. This is something I can attest to, as so far all I've done in Embers Adrift is solo or duo, and it's been fun both ways. If you like old school tab target MMOs, that is. I'm currently level 6 after just a few play sessions, and I've just unlocked my specialization, the Berserker. I had to go Berserker, right? Like, that made sense. It sounded like a lot of fun. Through this, there have been some things I loved, like the competitive PvE that makes me fear other NPCs, the lack of a mini-map which lets me focus on exploring and using landmarks on the large map that unveils as I explore. And speaking of exploring, that's a big part of it. The zones haven't been huge so far, but I really enjoy just running around and getting myself into trouble in different places and finding new things to uncover. That old school exploration of an MMO, because I don't know what's around the next corner and how it will kill me. Oh god. Oh. The things that I haven't liked about the MMO, they're either like going to be stylistic choices or limitations for it being an indie MMO. On the limitations of being an indie MMO side, it's just like a lack of some of the diversity in the things that you fight, a lack of being able to pick different races to play, because it's kind of like I'm a human every day. Like I'm a human when I get home from work, and I would like to be able to be an ogre or a troll or something else. But that might just be more of a me thing, I guess. And honestly, they're in kind of good company, because that's what you have in games like Throne and Liberty, and then New World was human only. But hey, at least in Embers Adrift, you can swim. Longtime audience from this channel, you know I had to get in the swim joke, right? Like I had to. That also goes into the size of the world. While it is constantly expanding and growing, and there's still a lot of it I have not seen yet, it does definitely feel like it is smaller. It is a smaller game, but again, as we'll get to at the end of this, they're continuing to grow this game. And perhaps some of the other issues might be getting a little bit remedied soon too. But one of the things that I think is it will just be the way it is, and it's something where you have to kind of understand going into the game, is they have made a stylistic choice to go with a low fantasy setting. It is their game. So if you're looking for the high fantasy of games like EverQuest, you might be a little bit disappointed. Doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just, for me, it's always going to be a little bit of a block for me. I mean, I'd rather be using magic spells than urine. Yes, that's actually something you do in the game, is use urine to piss things off. I mean, honestly, it makes sense. If someone threw urine on me, I'd be pissed. Please don't throw urine on me. But there's still so much more to this game for me to actually do a full review, and that's not what this video is. I just want you to get an idea of what to expect before you get in. And honestly, my honest opinion so far is I have been having fun. I played with my friend just last night, and we had a shit ton of fun just kind of running around and finding new ways to die. I keep going back to that. That might be a skill issue thing on my side, because I actually, like was saying, I've been able to solo a lot of this game. So even if you aren't able to find a group right away, you should still be able to have a little bit of fun when you get into the game, especially in the limited area with the trial that you're going to get. This is your chance, after all, to see it for yourself with really no barrier to entry at all, because this goes hand in hand with their previous change, which made their subscription optional. I don't think there's a better time to try out the game, which actually won this community's 2023 Scuffed Game Awards Indie MMO of the Year, over the likes of games like Albion Online and Project Gorgon.
That the winner is one that I feel is the most deserving and got my vote as well. So, without further ado, let's announce the Indie MMO Game of the Year on the Scuffed Game Awards is Embers Adrift by Stormhaven Studios. Congratulations to the team at Stormhaven, and go play Embers Adrift. It's a great game. Cheers.
Hey guys, John here, aka Drinden from Stormhaven Studios. I just want to thank you so much for voting Embers Adrift the Indie MMORPG of the Year. It means a heck of a lot to us. We're very honored and extremely grateful. I want to thank Scuffed Game Awards, Redbeard Flynn for making this possible. I also want to thank streamers who have helped us spread the word throughout the year. I want to thank publications that have followed our progress and spread the news about what we've been doing in the game. And I especially want to thank our community of players. We've had some great feedback from you throughout the year, and you've been extremely patient with us.
I won't include the whole speech here, but I do recommend going and checking Drinden's speech for the acceptance of the award, because it was very heartwarming and just fantastic. I'll link it down below. And I mentioned that some of the things that I struggle with a little bit in the game, with the limitations of it being an indie game, well, some of them they're actually working on, and so I wanted to mention that at the outset here. Embers Adrift, in the same announcement, also gave a little bit more on their current roadmap, which includes some awesome stuff in the short, near, and long term, like new zones, epic quests, new creatures, and boss encounters, enhanced weather tech, more armor, weapons, and more. And if you find that you enjoy the game, you can upgrade for just $29.99. Again, with an optional subscription. And this is all for a game that is very, very committed to not having the bullshit monetization stuff that I just did a freaking 40-minute video on, right? You know what? For that, there's something that I mentioned at the outset about like you needing to pay attention to this video, because there's something that I was gonna do. And what that thing is I'm giving away 2 copies of the game. I'm giving these copies away, I did not get them from Embers Adrift. I didn't even tell them I was doing this video. What I did was I went and bought 2 copies of the game, and I believe they may come with 2 weeks of the optional subscription. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it's part of the package anyway. And I'm going to give those away to you. So how am I going to do this? Well, quite simply, put in the comments down below something that would make you excited to try this game, and then put in that something like #Embers. And that way I can search for those and find and put all those names into a randomizer and pull out 2 winners randomly. And that's how I'll give out these copies. In order for me to do this, you will need to have either Discord, so you can contact me, or Twitter. I honestly, Discord is preferred, but have either one, some way for me to contact you that way, or I will not be able to give you the key and I will have to give it to the next person. Now, back to that video that's about all the shitty monetization that Embers Adrift doesn't have. It's right here. Have fun. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy Embers Adrift if you decide to play it.